On the back end it is.
Yeah, in the back end it is, but it's not known at GA, so it won't couple it.
No, so you'll create a new one. So you get a new user that only has the hit with the recurring revenue. Yeah.
Is that happening? I haven't noticed this. It's a good one.
Shit.
So.
The screen isn't not working.
No, I know. I need to. It's opening, luckily. Yeah.
We're live.
Oh, we're live.
So give us a quick 1 minute, 10-second intro again.
Okay, so I'm actually talking about the measurement protocol and how to basically measure recurring revenue within GA. So you can tell more about like what the lifetime value of a user is, and it will also tell you more. Well, that's another point which I wanted to discuss is how trustworthy are the traffic sources from the original conversion? They're not. No. That's what I was thinking. But also the device stuff.
Well, yeah, it's as trustworthy as client-side JavaScript tracking will ever be. Like, it's not perfect data, but yeah, and there's always data missing, and there's more data missing with people using more ad blockers and more scripts that will block everything.
Yeah.
So that's
the GA device identification is shit for various reasons, basically.
Yeah. But it's better than having no data. So you know, it's. I think it's the question: do you want to move forward and learn, or do you want to have perfect data and not improve on it? Like perfect data doesn't exist.
Well, to me, what was really interesting, it told us a lot about how we acquired users that stayed for a long time. So it basically got us focused more on those traffic sources.
I think for that it works.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a presentation I gave last year. So the positive thing is in here. So this is basically the measurement protocol. It's basically you just hit that, and Simon built something for it. So you might demo it later. But this is basically what you do. I have to say that I also shared this with Google because I think there's a big issue with the whole measurement protocol because there's no validation. So anybody can just throw anything at and that's also part of this presentation. So anything goes. As I just said, recurring revenue, but also affiliate income. If you store the client ID, you could actually, when you get paid out from the affiliate, send it back to the only issue that I'm seeing is that you can't backdate.
No.
And that is a big thing, and I wish that would be fixed. But you could also do the slightly more negative stuff, like adding ghost sessions, event messages, device hits, like anything goes. So analytics spam, anyone? We've all experienced it. Mostly done through this. This is the hit builder. You can just go there and play around with it. So for the recurring revenue, what I did, I created a user ID, a user IP, and a non-interactive hit parameter. What I also did was I created 2 categories of transactions, initial and recurring, so you can actually filter on that as well. And it will give you great insights. So this is how it looks. So you actually see, we're testing different rate plans here. So you actually see a rate plan, so €8 for 3 months, and this is a recurring payment. And then you can see the revenue and everything. So it will tell you a lot about how your product is actually performing. So you can also do it per city, and then you can basically, this way you can focus more on the cities that actually earn you a lot over time. In this case, for us, because this is the it depends word. It all depends on what kind of business you're in. In our case, it's all location based, so we have to think about that. The other thing you could do, you could couple it with your CRM data. So if you know the user ID and if somebody gets a call, you could actually send that call or that interaction back to GA. So you can see loads of other stuff that you should be able, or that might be of interest to you. So this is the part where we go slightly on the dark side. It's having fun. So send messages to competitors using UTMs, events, URLs, all kinds of stuff. Most of them, you can filter them out, but most of them won't. So it will really screw their data, but this being slightly nasty. The funnel report is all page view based, so it's not user / cookie based. So if you start entering more page views in there, you completely, basically, you can get their funnel to go boom. And it will never go this way because the way funnels are measured in GA. What you could potentially also do is just overload them with data, and then they can't render like more than 2 or 3 days because there's so many data points in. And the other one is very nasty. It's entering personal identifiable data in URLs, in events, and just scrape some email addresses and.
Clients do that anyway.
I know. That's a whole different story. But you could do this basically. You could also basically figuring out what their UTM naming strategy is and just start putting way more sessions in, and thus making them completely blind on what's happening.
You shouldn't teach people this.
I think we're all smart enough to actually use this. And I think we should educate people this, and Google should listen to this and make sure that there's authentication on it, because currently it's the wild, wild west. So they need to change this. Hope you're listening. So the precautions when doing these kind of things is you need a IP address randomizer, use real URLs, use real host names, randomize devices, use real page titles, use this was it. Let's chat possibilities. That was for then. If you want to chat possibilities, happy to do so. I wouldn't advise doing this. For me, it's purely hypothetical and what you could do. I've tried it on my own site. It works, and it's difficult to defend against. So that was it. And I would love to hear more about, like, if you're in SaaS, what kind of metrics are you using? Is this something you would want to work with, or do you do it in another way?
I think one important thing I've certainly found in getting people to implement is kind of temporal tracking. So you obviously got a funnel, but then there are things that are happening independently of user actions, like trial ends, or you go from month 1 to month 2. And actually, a lot of people do not have states handled, right? So understanding who is the prospect, who has just become a customer in that session, and who is a registered customer is really important for A/B testing and everything else, because you're saying, oh, we're running an A/B test on who? Just everyone that comes to the site, including all our registered customers. So you've got this random sample that will never convert that you've added into the A and B, and it's statistical noise. You shouldn't be doing it. You should be testing on cohorts. The other thing I found really useful, I got this tip from Michael Ogard, is now we go out to SaaS people, we go and scrape up a whole load of the high lifetime value customers, and we sit down and figure out why the fuck they like it so much. And that is hugely illuminating, because it tells, I love it because it does this thing for me. And I discovered this feature last year that was buried in there, and wow, it's made such a difference, and I love the product so much. And then you look at everyone else who's used that. No one else has used this feature. And you get a light bulb moment. So actually reverse engineering the delight of the highest value lifetime customers for everyone else.
Agreed. And one of the major things that I'm seeing is that hardly anybody tracks stuff in their backend. So you have a product, and everybody's focused on getting more signups and everything, but nobody really focuses and measures how people are using their actual tool.
It's like two universes that are joined. So there's the post-hoc analysis where let's run a whole load of analysis on all these people and where they've gone in terms of attrition through churn and subscription, or we're going to look at the whole kind of front end. What they're not doing is joining the two together. One thing we implemented in Love Film that helped us built the business hugely. Every promo code we ever used for any promotion, print, TV, even PPC, had a unique promo code with it, right? Which meant that all the front end and the back end were now joined together. So we could look at someone would say, oh, we're going to do a 2-for-1 cinema tickets. And we could say, oh, we did one last year, how was that? And we look at it and we say, it was really shit, it cost us money.
Yeah.
So we say, well, we're going to fucking do that again. And that important thing of joining both the back end stuff and the front end stuff together through client IDs was one of the best things that we ever did.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think there's hardly any SaaS. So the only SaaS metric loads of people have is sign-ups. it really is. And I think the one metric that really matters is how happy are your users and in using the tool, because that will convert them into paying.
But it's also probably a little bit because of when people use Google Analytics, when you approach from a Google Analytics point of view, it's more logical to use that on the front end, and it's not built for the back end, and it's basically like what you're doing, adding the lifetime value.
Yeah.
So it basically screws up Google Analytics in a lot of ways.
I know.
Adding hits later because you need to widen up the date range to look at the. It makes no sense at all. So I would definitely split it up in separate properties, like have one for acquisition, one for. But it's not built for it, which is probably why people don't do it as well, because it feels like when you're focusing on acquisition, it's built for that, and then it feels natural to do it. But there's way better tools for product analytics.
If you're splitting your data like this between people who are essentially in different universities, say I've gone from using the front end site, now I come to the site to log in and use the SaaS app, right? And that in itself causes data pollution because you've got all these. One bunch of guys said to me, our conversion rate keeps dropping. And I said, do you know what? It's dropping at the same rate that you hire people into your company in the Philippines. If you employ more people in the Philippines, eventually it'll drop to fucking zero, right? Because you're not filtering them out. And they come and log in and use the site and lots of data. But the one important thing is if you're going to do that split, you need an intermediate state as well. So if you say, prospects and registered customers, there's also a third state, which is prospect who has just turned into a customer in this session. Unless you have that third state, you won't be able to do the split accurately between the two, right? Because you can only do it won't quite handle someone who's both a prospect and a customer in the same session.
That's true. But what is really interesting is with this, you can actually create segments that you can use to bit modify in your acquisition.
Google's pushing the Salesforce thing right now. Right? So Salesforce, I don't know what's on there, but Google is, let's say, Google and Salesforce are marrying the tools. So basically, everything that's available in your Salesforce, you will be able to use.
It's a pity because I was building an app. Based on the measurement protocol,
they're also
do
building
this.
But
so that's darn.
But user classification, like user scoring at a lot of B2B, like where you have multi-account sales. So somebody is the one who interests the company, but another one is the actual purchaser, right? So you have multiple. So using those kind of metrics to give users a score and send that to.
But it makes so much sense from that perspective, because when we started doing this. I started targeting a similar audience of all the people that have a have a high, and that really works because you can narrow it down because if you have enough data, like that's the prerequisite.
Until the 25th of May.
well, it depends because if it's not,
it doesn't depend.
No, why not?
Well,
because
the
if it's
lookalike audience feature is just
dead
in GDPR. Well, like lookalike audience is not
because it's reliable anyway.
No, but it worked though.
Yeah.
It showed some promising figures, but you're basically using a prospecting feature that people didn't sign up. You don't know that they explicitly agreed on being used in a prospecting feature. So, as of the 25th of May, if you choose it, you can still do it because you're not going to get caught, but if you get caught, it's going to be fun.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
So then we have to move to the US, and then we can do it.
Migrate that still.
Yeah.
No, but if my business is still in Europe, even if I'm in the US,
but
then
who's going to? I don't know how that works legally, but if you're in the US and you don't have to oblige to Europe laws, right? I don't know.
No, for the European customer, but if it's if for a European customer, it's still the case.
Yeah.
No.
That's the whole thing.
Well, the issue is more about is the data authorities, are they sort of, do they have the tools to send a fine to a US company? That's actually the question about GDPR.
It is.
Yeah, think about the
Swear
Germans
jar.
as a. We are working. Our main market is Germany.
Yeah.
Every time we are touching something in the way we are tracking our users, we get reported to the German authorities for data privacy. From users who just go in the source code, look up stuff. Whoa, what's this UID? Was not here before. So we're tracking with it. Then they will take all our terms and conditions, read everything. If it's not in there, they report it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
users,
actually.
You have a lot of time in Germany.
When Putin stops sending gas, there won't be enough electricity to run computers, so your problem will go away in Germany. No computers, no whining about privacy issues.
What should
No
we do?
business.
Even better. No, like.
No, but it's.
What we're also doing with measurement protocol is sending hits when customers send us emails.
Yeah, emails. That's what I said.
For
So
us,
emails or
this
phone
relationship
calls.
is super important for our users because they have to learn to use our system,
Yeah.
and we have assumptions that when they talk to us
Yeah.
and put a face on it and so on, they tend to make more effort to learn the system and stay in average longer.
Yeah.
And
This
for
is
us,
this
email-
is a very important data point in calculating who we should put effort into avoiding churn on. So we had an anti-churn system that was basically working out, are these really fucking expensive fuckers, right? You know, or are the, you know, how much are these people costing to service as a customer? So it was the cost of their disk usage, the postage, the cost of answering phone call to them, the cost of replying to an email. We could factor in that cost for the promotion, so that when we look back at that 2-for-1 cinema ticket promotion, we were actually looking at the cost of providing that to people rather than just the marketing.
But would you
cost.
do that in GA? No.
No. That was done in back end, but there was linkage between GA and the back end.
Because you, with enhanced e-commerce, you could basically send negative.
But if you're going to go to that extent to
Yeah,
enhance
because then
e-commerce
you
that
need-
way,
yeah,
then you could also build a database where it's way easier to do the
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah.
Use the API pool,
Like there's
analytics, and combine everything.
There's this
there.
point where it's
No, it's true. It's true. It's
I
true.
love the dark side stuff
Yeah.
there. When I was at Waitrose, we put a web server, a broken web server with an old version of our website in the corner of the office. And then we mapped out all of Sainsbury's and Arthur Anderson's IP addresses. It took a while, a month. And every time anyone from Arthur Anderson came to look at our fucking website, we went and saw one that was 9 months old and all broken and the search didn't work. They were all like, look at their size, total ass. We fucking rock. And it took them 7 months, and the guy at Sainsbury's came up to me and he said, you bastard. I said, you bastard, you tricked us. And I said, well, it's just because I said, if you'd actually done some work from home like I did,
you would have gone like, oh, whoa.
but you work for Arthur Anderson, so that's right.
Yeah, interesting.
Slightly evil.
Slightly evil, but what?
Show us tool. How to screw it
Ah.
up.
Okay, anybody Google Analytics idea that what you want to?
My
Just
client
work your client,
configurations are fucked enough already.
Here we
What is the Google
go.
Analytics profile of MeasureCamp?
Yeah, we
Okay,
actually,
we need
we
access.
actually.
Right here.
So.
What's the number?
Stop recording.
Here it is. So there we are. We can do loads of stuff here. So now we put in a different host name. I think this is still the conversion hotel one.
Yeah. Oh no, the tracking ID is a separate one.
Yeah. Okay. So you can put anything. So this is the page path. So we could say.
Vote for Trump.
Yeah.
A lot of that spam. Really.
God.
Whatever. food, whatever. And then you can put in the page title, the source, the medium, the campaign name, and then we can basically say, start sending hits. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. And Smart Simon has also entered different devices, so different device, screen sizes, and everything. So yeah, this is working as it should.
Not sure why we should say good work, but nicely done.
Nicely done.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's randomizing the IP address, randomizing the client ID.
Yeah, and randomizing device.
And randomizing devices. So
Screen
they're
size.
including screen sizes and
Yeah.
user agents.
Yeah.
And sort of doing this.
Yeah. And we now have 45 hits sent. So it's one every second, I think.
Yeah.
See your account.
Oh, just leave on the rest.
Yeah. So you can just go here. It's freemon.com/mp.
So if your campaign is underperforming,
It's fairly easy to fix that. If you have a traffic goal, look no further. Your bonus is in.
DMs are multiple to begin with.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that was basically it, I think. Let's stop saying So yeah, that was it. If you have any questions, just let me know, or other people. Yeah, that was it.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.